Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for clicking this video. In this next few minutes together, we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic, at least one of my favorite topics, and that's self-care. In the age of COVID, especially, but anyway, in general, if you follow my work at all, you know how much I preach the importance of taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of other people, right? And it's a trendy thing right now, but I guess one of the upsides of something being a trend is that we are starting to see the importance of this concept. And today we're going to do a little work and dig deeper into what that actually means. A lot of times when we talk about self care, I think a lot of folks think about just the after the fact. When things get tough, like what can I do? Can I get a massage? Can I go and do treat myself to a bottle of wine tonight? And one of my favorite quotes, and I'll try to remember in the comments to throw in the link to cite the author. But it was an article about what is really self care, and it said that self care is not always salt baths and bubble baths and chocolate cake and things like that. It can be that, but to me, and this is where we're going to dive in, is self care at the root of what this practice is, of what this work is. It's getting our basic needs met. And one of the things I have learned in working with helping professionals is a lot of times we put ourselves last, and we're not even really tied in and tuned in to what our needs are. So what I want you to do is, and if you want to, before you can pause the video right now, go right here to tjrumler.com down in the downloads section, and I've placed the PDF versions of this exercise on the website. You can print them out, you can screen cap them, put them on your iPad, whatever, and work along with it. So if you want to pause right now and do that, you can do that. Otherwise, do that later. But what I want you to do, and I encourage you to really take some time to dig deep when you're doing it, is if you'll look right here at this worksheet, and I've borrowed this from the Center for Nonviolent Communications, which I've put at the bottom of there. There's some great work. If you want to, really go deep into this practice, I recommend a book called "Say What You Mean" by Oren Sofer. That's really helped me learn the art of mindful communication in a lot deeper way in my own work, in my own life. But again, all right, let's get back. Let's get back to what we're talking about today. In this needs inventory, I actually want you to go through it in two different ways, and I've kind of written that at the top. At the very first, I want you to take a couple of minutes and go through and highlight, circle, whatever you like, 8 to 10 of these that really resonate. As you read through these basic needs, like which ones really hit home, really land hard for you as like, all right, that's important to me. Maybe you're somebody who really values autonomy, so a feeling of independence or free expression is super important to you. Maybe play is important to you. Like one of mine is travel under play. Like that's right now because of the COVID situation. It's really it's really affecting me that I can't travel. Wow, how privileged does that sound? But it's just a fact. So go through, pause the video, take time to go through and identify your 8 to 10 that resonate with you. All right. Unpause. Now, what I want you to do is from those 8 to 10, go through and identify which two. Which two are your true driving core needs? Because I'd be willing to bet you that those two, those other 6 to 8 are probably going to fall somewhere under those. And really take a minute or a few minutes to identify what those are. Pause. All right, now that you've done that, I want you to kind of keep those in your mind. And what we're going to do is realize that those are our core needs. And everything that we do is really to get those needs met are what we're going to call strategies. So a strategy for connection. Let's say that you really need affection. There's healthy ways and unhealthy ways to do that. And depending on how we're getting those needs met, what our strategies are, we could either be, helping people get closer to us, or if we do that in a very needy, clingy kind of way, we can push people away. And I want you to think, like one of the examples I use a lot of times when I'm training is if I have a need for connection, maybe that's a need for intimacy. Maybe that's a need for appreciation. Maybe that's a need for being heard and seen. But let's say it's a need for intimacy. If I'm feeling disconnected from my partner, if I go to that person and if that need is not being met, and the way that I try to get that need met, the strategy that I use is blaming and attacking. I may go to that person and I may say, you know, you've really been ignoring me, or you're just not willing to put any time into this relationship, or you know, something like that. I'm blaming them, and I'm not taking ownership of my own behavior, which in turn I lose control. I mean, I'm giving up a little bit of that control to get my needs met. And what I have found, y'all, is that a lot of times when my basic core needs are not met, I start feeling maybe resentful towards people. I start feeling frustrated. Maybe it looks like anxiety. It can look like depression. It can feel like, you know, entrapment, or being trapped, maybe is a better way to describe that, a feeling of that, or the thought that I'm being trapped. So another strategy to try to get that need met would be going to that person and saying, I really value, you know, I have a need for intimacy, and I really value intimacy with you. And right now I feel disconnected. Would you be willing to just take a night and like put our phones down and just really talk, really connect with each other? The way that lands is going to be a whole lot different, because I'm taking ownership of how I feel. I'm taking ownership of what I need. And then I'm making a very concrete request of someone. So what that can look like, even in a professional sense, is like if I have a need for autonomy, for independence, and that's not being met just because of the way my job looks right now, I can shift that. Maybe I go do a side project. Maybe I find something else I can work on that helps me fulfill that need for independence. So at the end of the day, it's finding out what our core needs are, taking ownership of them, and carving out ways to meet them, right? So the second part of this exercise is developing a self-care plan. Because anything without a plan is just a wish, really. A hope without a plan is just a wish. So what I want you to do, and really take some time. We've all learned about SMART goals. When you do this, I want you to do something that is not too grand, not too far out there, that you can actually accomplish, but it's actually going to be meaningful as well, right? Because I want it to mean something to you. It should be personal. So try to carve out one self-care goal for each one of these categories. Maybe it's something, you know, that you do at home. There could be something else that you do at work. Right now, y'all, that might be in the same space. A lot of us are working from home, but try to still make them separately. For me, one of my self-care goals at work is I'm going to only work like right here at this desk. You're probably used to seeing me in this space right now, but like if I walk right over there to my couch, that's not where I do work. So it's about creating separate spaces, like actual physical spaces. And then when I say staff, you know, if you're in leadership position and you have people that report to you, that's what I mean. Can you support community self-care? If we are preaching to the people that report to us that they need to practice self-care, what are we doing to support them in those efforts? And let's be intentional about that. If you're a teacher, if you know, maybe that looks like your students, not your staff. What can you do to help them? So anybody that maybe relies on you to support their self-care, look at it through that lens. I really hope that you got something out of this video. If you did, please share it. Again, go to tjrumler.com for the downloads. And if you don't mind, if it's something you feel like being vulnerable, I would love in the comments, maybe share one or more of the ones that you come up with for your self-care plan. I love hearing what people come up with. I love hearing the creativity from the people that I've done this exercise with before. So again, thank you for your time. I hope you got something from it. Please share, and I'll see y'all later.